Radio Italia 1 e Unique Stone presentano A Night with Amore and Avati. A Night with Amore and Avati. Festeggia e celebra l'amore con la trascinante e travolgente simpatia del grande Joe Avati. Per un San Valentino tra romanticismo e divertimento sfrenato. Uno spettacolo imperdibile, arricchito dalla musica di Daniela Fontana Rosa e i Sonic Circle. Sabato 13 febbraio nello splendido teatro di Woodville Town Hall. Entrata alle ore 18:30. Non aspettare. Prenota i tuoi biglietti chiamando la radio al numero 82 12 31 77. Ed oltre al major sponsor Unique Stone, siamo felici di avere al nostro fianco i platinum sponsor Mitolo Family Farm e Northeast Isuzu. Radio Italia 1. Radio Italia 1. Le sorprese non finiscono mai.
Fatti travolgere dalla musica di Radio Italia 1. Italia 1.
Io non so parlare d'amore, l'emozione non ha voce. E mi manca un po' il respiro, se ci sei c'è troppa luce. La mia anima si spande come musica d'estate, poi la voglia sai mi prende e si accende con i baci tuoi. Io con te sarò sincero, resterò quel che sono. Disonesto mai lo giuro, ma se tradisci non perdono. Ti sarò per sempre amico, pur geloso come sai. Io lo so, mi contraddico, ma preziosa sei tu per me. Tra le mie braccia dormirai serenamente ed è importante, questo sai, per sentirci pienamente noi. Un'altra vita mi darai che io non conosco, la mia compagna tu sarai, fino a quando so che lo vorrai. Due caratteri diversi prendono fuoco facilmente, ma divisi siamo persi, ci sentiamo quasi niente. Siamo due legati dentro da un amore che ci dà la profonda convinzione che nessuno ci dividerà. Alle mie braccia dormirai serenamente ed è importante, questo sai, per sentirci pienamente noi. Fino a quando lo vorrai, noi vivremo come sai, solo di sincerità, di amore, di fiducia, poi sarà quel che sarà.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. Mark Aston with you, and I'll be joined very shortly by Marta, who of course does breakfast for Radio Italia on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7 until 9. And we will be joined by one of the funniest men on the planet. His name is Joe Avati, and he's an international comedian, and we're going to be talking to him very shortly. And the reason we're going to be talking to Joe is to get a little bit more of an update on his life and how he started, and also, and probably most importantly, the fact that Joe will be here in Adelaide on the 13th of February at the Woodville Town Hall, and it will be a night with Amore and Avati, and that is on the 13th of February at the Woodville Town Hall. So very shortly, Joe Avati.
Sono un uomo libero, libero da amare. E non sono in vendita, tu non mi puoi comprare. Non voglio impegnarmi, non mi voglio legare. Alla tua proposta aggiungo una risposta. Proprio quello che vuoi tu, cerca un altro, io non ci sto più, ma non ti pare di esagerare, non ti basta di potermi amare. Proprio quello che vuoi tu, cerca un altro, io non ci sto più, ma non ti pare di esagerare, non ti basta di potermi amare.
Oh, sensational, beautiful music there. And I'm Mark Aston, joined by Marta. Hello, Marta.
Hello, Mark. It was a pleasure to have you. Wow, very emotional.
Well, you were crying when I said that I'd help you with this interview.
No.
I'm not sure whether they were tears that were suggesting that it was going to go well, or
to be with you, such a beautiful professional, is always a big lesson.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Marta. Well, we're going to talk to someone who is very special. Yeah, no doubt about that, Joe Avati. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Joe, an international comedian who's been around for a long time, very, very funny man. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Joe about 12 months ago on my program on Monday.
Yes.
And he's just so entertaining, but he's also very serious, and we spoke about a lot of serious stuff, how he started in the game. Mm-hmm. And the reason that we're doing it, of course, is because he's got a fantastic show coming up on the 13th of February at the Woodville Town Hall. And I'm looking forward to that. And you're just about sold out, hey?
Yes, we have only a few tickets left, so 8212-3177 if someone wants to book today is a good day to do it.
Absolutely, and very proudly sponsored by Unique Stone, and we thank Almundo Paradiso for his wonderful sponsorship, and also the two platinum sponsors, Northeast Azuzu and also the Matola family. So we thank them very much indeed. We really, really do. So let's not waste any time, because it's great to have people on this program, on your program, on this station, who are professional.
Yes, Mark.
And also, too, these days it's important that we make people laugh, because it's been such a tough 12 months.
Exactly.
And there's no question that our next guest, Joe Avati, makes people laugh. He has been doing it for a long time, and he does it internationally. Not sure how international he is at the moment with COVID, of course.
That's right. We will ask him in a moment.
We will indeed. Joe, welcome along. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, my friend.
Joe.
Yeah, you know Marta.
Hello, Marta.
You know Marta, of course. Hey, Joe, where are you? Are you in Melbourne?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne. Yeah, I'm in my home in Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah.
But I have started doing a bit of travelling, which is great.
Good.
Actually, last year we didn't work from March till September, but then I went and based myself up in Sydney, and I worked solidly for 3 months, so it was pretty good. I didn't miss out too much.
Wow. So you went to Sydney during the COVID situation, and you got work up there. How did that work out? How did that happen?
Well, I already had bookings. I had a few weddings to MC and perform at. I do all sorts of private. I do a lot of corporate work for organisations. I do birthday parties. I do christenings. I do anything. Whatever. If the people want me there and they pay the fee, I'm there. It's my job. That's what I do.
That's wonderful. Have you got a favourite? I mean, obviously you love standing up in front of people and making them laugh, with big crowds. But I mean, do you enjoy those more personal type events?
Well, there's this one particular lady. So she was the first time that I did a show for her. She was 94, and her great-grandchildren or grandchildren got me and said, Nonna loves you. She's, a big fan of yours. So they got me to go to her house, and they had all her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and I performed for her 94th birthday.
Wow.
Anyhow, then they called me again. Sorry about that. They called me again, and they got me to do her 98th birthday, which was in 2019. And I said to her, you know what? If you're going to have your 100th birthday, I'm going to come and do it for free for you.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Hopefully this year in October, when she turns 100, I'll be there for her 100th birthday. And that's going to be my present to her, is my performance. Because and it's really funny, when I performed for her the first time, I'm doing jokes and she goes, I've heard that one.
and I guess to a large degree too, Joe, you might need to just sort of change your sort of repertoire a bit when you're doing it to a family.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, no. Well, look, it all. A lot of people think, how do you do corporates? How do they understand if you do Italian? I don't do Italian. My jokes in Italian these days. It's all in English, and the kind of repertoire that I do. I've got the ethnic repertoire, but I've also got a repertoire that's for anybody. I mean, I do nights for Anzacs, and so all Australian, all ex-servicemen and women. I'm very flexible. So a lot of people have no idea that I do that kind of thing. So that particular private show I really enjoyed. So hopefully, Nonna will make it to 100 this year, and I'll be there.
Oh my gosh, that's
and
fantastic.
I've got new material for
her.
That's a wonderful thing.
Joe Avati with us on Radio Italia Uno, and we are talking about this fantastic, amazing Radio Italia Uno event coming up on Saturday, the 13th of February at Woodville Town Hall, a night with Amore and Avati. So when I say Amore, Joe, what you going to propose, actually? What do you have ready for us on that night about Amore?
Oh, well, that's a surprise. I just got married. In late December.
Congratulations.
So, yes, I'll be talking a little bit about that. And my wife and I are just about to... So that show that I'm doing for you is the last one for a little while, because very soon after we're expecting our first baby.
Wow,
so,
that's good news.
Yeah, that's a lot of amore right there.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I guess getting married, having a child, gives you the opportunity, Joe, to come up with more material.
Exactly.
Oh, it's fantastic being married, mate. Now my wife can tell me what I don't like anymore. Great.
What's her name?
Yeah? Her name is Natalia.
Natalia. We say hello to Natalia as well. Eh?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So we're really looking forward. Many people, they're actually waiting for you, Joe, here in Adelaide. And your last time, when is those?
Well, when was it? Oh, geez. I mean, I come to Adelaide often to do a lot of corporate work.
Okay.
I think, in Adelaide, for some reason, I get a lot of birthdays, a lot of 40th, 50th, 60th birthdays in Adelaide. People book me for a couple of weddings. But I think the last big show that we did in Adelaide was probably early last year, I would say. Early last year, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe,
because everything stopped in March.
Yeah.
From March, everything stopped.
Yeah, and stopped for so many people. Hey, Joe, I'm not sure. I think it was probably beyond 12 months that I spoke to you, so it might have been prior to COVID. I think. Yeah. Did you tend? Were there any opportunities for you to do anything virtually over Zoom or anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean, I got a couple of calls to do stand up over Zoom, and that just doesn't work. You really need to feel the room when you're doing stand up. But I did do other things over Zoom during the COVID season, and basically they were pre-recorded videos.
Oh yeah,
that people would then play.
Yep.
I did this one for an organisation here in Melbourne, an Italian restaurant chain, and they held a night where they got everybody simultaneously to order their food. So part of the package was that for the night they could sit at home, and for that whole hour and a half they would get delivered the food from the restaurant. They had Anthony Kalia singing. They had me cooking for them as well. So I pre-recorded a cooking session.
That's a great idea.
And they had an international singer that they live streamed from Italy. So that kind of worked well. Yeah, that was great. And a couple of other little Zoom sessions, but for very small groups, maybe 15 or 20 people. But that was not more of a stand-up. That was more commentary. So that would have a meeting, and I would basically make fun of their meeting. That was the kind of things that I do. But stand-up, like I've been asked to do stand-up, it just doesn't work. It's just not the right vibe. You need to feed off laughter. You need to feed off an audience, and you just don't get that on Zoom.
Hey, Joe, when you first walk out, because you're so experienced, I guess you'd get a feel for the room pretty well straight away. When you walk out, if you feel as though it's a serious crowd, do you do anything different? Do you, in other words, when you feel that you might need to work a bit harder, is that what you're forced to do, or do you just do your act and hope for the best? How does it work?
Yeah, no. So there's two things. Normally, I work with a support act, so I will listen to the reaction of the to the support act.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
And if I feel that they're a bit of a sensitive crowd, there are certain jokes. I mean, look, my material is very clean anyway, so I don't swear and I don't really talk about any topic that's going to offend anybody. Really, it's very safe. But there are some things that you got to leave out. So, like it might be a tagline, might be a routine, and so I listen to the reaction of the support act. Number one, number two, my show's designed so that if I was to do anything that might be a little bit hairy, let's say, I leave that towards the end. So by the time that I get to that joke or that routine, I already know if I should or shouldn't do it. So what you're basically doing on stage is you're listening to every little laugh and realizing, that should have got that should have got a bigger laugh. Or, geez, that got more of a laugh than it usually does. And then that way you can take the crowd a little bit further. So that's part of the art of stand-up comedy.
Okay, so comedian Joe Avati with us on Radio Italia 1. He has been selling out shows across the world, and very soon he's coming to Adelaide, exactly on the 13th of February with Radio Italia 1, a fantastic night with Amore with Joe Avati at Woodville Town Hall. And this night will be actually opened by Sonic Circle and Daniela Fontanarosa, Joe, which you already know Daniela. And I want to ask you, what is your preferred song so I can make sure that Daniela will be performing on that night for you?
Oh, look, I like a lot of Eros Ramazzotti. I like Laura Pausini. Is she singing any songs in English?
Yes, she will.
All Italian. Oh, I'm a huge George Michael fan. So anything from George Michael, I'll be fine. Robbie Williams. And I actually love Barbra Streisand.
Oh,
People
yeah.
think that's bizarre. I'm a huge fan of Barbra Streisand's voice. One of my favourite albums is when the Bee Gees wrote Barbra Streisand's Guilty album in 1980. That's one of my favourite albums. I can sing you every song, every word from every song on that album.
Yes,
But you can't talk to many people that because they think you're a weirdo.
Wow.
I mean, what's wrong with Barbra Streisand?
Let's see what we can do.
I love Barbra Streisand. Joe, when you were younger, who did you, and I know it's a bit of a cliched question, but did you look up to any comedians? Were they not so much your mentors personally, but were they people that you aspired to be like, or were there comedians that you thought, you know what, that's really funny, I like that person, I want to be like that?
Yeah, well, look, when I was growing up, the biggest sort of stars at the time in Australia were Rodney Roode. There was, but I didn't necessarily want to be like him, but that's who we listened to. Then there was Jamoan. Jamoan was great. There was Eddie Murphy, because he had that Delirious and Raw. They were pretty good, but they were also pretty rude. I guess for me, the comic that really, if you listen to him then and you listen to him now, even if you weren't born, his material sort of worked for absolutely everybody, was Bill Cosby.
Of course, yeah.
So, and it's really sad the demise that he had, but, when you're wrong, you're wrong. But if you listen to Bill Cosby's stand-up that he performed in 1971, and you listen to it today, you'll still laugh the same, even if you weren't even born. And that's to me the indicator of a great comedian. Other acts, I mean, in Australia, I really enjoyed Ostentatious, but the kind of humour that I like is nowhere near the kind of humour that I perform in my show. If that makes sense.
Well,
explain
completely
that.
different.
Explain that, Joe.
Because I'm very safe in my show. I don't offend anybody, but I like material that offends people. I really enjoy. I like acts that really push the limit. But I wouldn't. I don't do that kind of stuff myself. But I really enjoy acts that really push political boundaries, racial boundaries. And make people really question. So the kind of comedians I like are very polarizing. They're either loved or hated. Whereas, my act is very down the middle, safe, not going to offend anybody. Everyone enjoys it. You can bring kids to the show. You can bring your nonna to the show.
It's a broad.
Be safe.
Yeah, it's for a broader audience. I mean, one of my favourite comedians. I might have even mentioned this last time. Was Don Rickles, and Don. I mean, as you would know, I mean, there was no. Well, Don was polarising in a way, but he was extraordinarily. I mean, his jokes were extraordinarily edgy and racist. But he didn't. Back in those days, people just laughed. But I mean, you could not possibly get away with that stuff now, could you?
No, and I'm not necessarily talking about enjoying comedians that were racially vilifying back then. It was more about pushing that boundary. Yes, of course, some of the things that that those acts said back then, you couldn't say now. You wouldn't be able to get away with it. But now there are also people like Jim Jeffries who are really out there, but they wouldn't be able to get away with what they're saying on a TV show or a radio show, but they've got a huge following because there are a lot of people who actually like that kind of stuff, and these days you don't need TV to make it like once you used to, because there's so much happening on the internet, and a lot of acts become very famous via the internet or via Instagram. And you wouldn't even know. So if you didn't have Instagram, if you didn't follow their account, you wouldn't even know about these comedians, but they would sell out. It's the same way with, I can sell out all over the world, but, if you weren't Italian back in those days, you wouldn't have heard of me. So, like, who are you? Why do you sell these many tickets? I've never seen you on TV. I don't do TV. I don't need to do TV.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a huge following via the
true.
internet.
Yeah, but you know, Adelaide loves you, and you know that. And there are so many people listening at
Thank
the
you.
moment. And you know, there is a special person that actually is making this show possible. You know, because the show is proudly brought by major sponsor Unique Stone and Armando Paradiso. I want you to say hello to Armando Paradiso. He couldn't join us this morning, but I hope you will meet him on that night. And also, we have two platinum sponsors: Northeast Isuzu and Mitolo Family Farms. So this is actually happening very soon. Joe, we're looking forward to have you. It's amazing, you know.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back. I mean, the most of the shows that I've been performing since COVID have been private shows or corporate shows, so it's a very different environment. When you're performing in a theater, I mean, I haven't performed in a theater since early last year, so you know it's been over a year or no, it's just on a year now. That since I've performed in a nice theatre, and so I'm really looking forward to that because that's a completely different vibe. Great.
No doubt about that. What about? And again, I know it's probably a bit of a cliched question, but so many good comedians handle hecklers so well. How do you handle hecklers?
I've never really had so many hecklers. I mean, in my shows, people are paying good money to see an act. They're not the kind of people that I get at my show don't really heckle. Although I used to get heckled. See, when I first started, I used to perform at the Comedy Store in Sydney. You know, and you would be dealing with a lot of drunks, especially on the Friday night. You have to do two shows. Yeah. So all over the world, when you're performing stand-up, there was this, on a Friday night, there's two shows. There's the early show and the late show. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're a comedian and you perform in the late show on a Friday, that's when you get people who are tired and drunk, and you get a lot of hecklers there. And you've just got to go. We've got a pocket full of comeback lines, and you've got to know which one to say, and all that kind of stuff.
Depending on the situation, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'd get a heckle, but
it's not something that's a major issue for you, because most people that certainly these days, most people that go and see you, I'm sure all of them actually probably love you. I went through on YouTube just to get some clips, or just one clip in particular of you, but there's so many of them. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. I mean, 25 years ago you couldn't do that, of course, and I mean, there's just so much great stuff. This is only a minute or so. Just take a listen to this. This is our guest Joe Avati being very funny.
Food was very important in the Wog household. That's why we have two kitchens. We do, don't we, mate? The one we spend $40,000 on and never use. And the one we eat in the garage.
See, great line that. I mean, again, I'm drilling down a bit, but where do you think of... Does that line come as a result of your life and what you've experienced, or do you sit down and go, okay, I want to do a gag on this, so how do I come up with a line? How does it work?
Well, food is such a big part of being Italian. So you start to think about, why do we like food so much? And then all of a sudden there's the line. I mean, Italians, of course, as we know, we love food so much, and you think, well, where is that going to take me? That's why we've got the two kitchens. Well, that tags in really well with that. Yeah. That works in well. And there's a lot of sarcasm, right? And there's a lot of irony as well used when you're developing a joke and you're writing new material. So and I've been doing a lot of that too recently, because when I had to go up to Sydney in August last year, I had to do the hotel quarantine, the compulsory 2-week hotel quarantine, which was really great because it gave me time to do a bit of writing, to do a bit of reading that I hadn't had a chance to do, and it spurred me on. So I've got a bit of new material that I'm trying out, and that I'm writing anyway, because next year. So this year I'm not doing many shows to the public. It's just all private and corporate shows. But next year, it's my 25th anniversary, so I'll be doing a major tour around Australia, and then hopefully heading back overseas, because I had a lot of shows booked overseas. I had my first show in Los Angeles. I had a sold-out show in Vancouver, and then I had shows in Toronto, and then I actually, believe it or not, was booked to host 2 weddings in Italy. One couple from Canada, another couple from England.
Oh, for heaven's
so they both booked me separately to host their weddings in Italy.
Wow, that's
interesting. Yeah, and that would have been great. One was at the Amalfi Coast, and the other one was in Lake Como. And I was going to use it as a bit of a holiday as well, but obviously that didn't happen. All international travel for me has been stopped until at least the middle of 2022. So I'll be focused in Australia.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Joe Avati with us on Radio Italia Uno with Mark Easton. I have this great pleasure to have this talk with you, with Mark, such a professional person. He always inspires me in many ways when he comes to the station.
That's right.
However, Joe, do you speak Italian? That's the question actually many people ask me very often, if you speak Italian. Parli italiano o no?
Sì, parlo italiano, sì.
Ma che bello.
Parlo meglio calabrese, ma in italiano sto migliorando un po', perché quando vado in Italia, ogni volta che vado in Italia mi insegno più, ma devo fare la pratica.
Come?
Mark is experiencing italiano.
The only thing I know, Joe, is vieni a casa mia dopo mangiare.
Oh, that's pretty much all you need to know, really.
It's still about the food, eh?
And the only other thing you really need to know is quale cucina, quella in garage or quella propria.
Oh, which kitchen? The one in the garage or the one for?
Oh, thank
the
you.
Proper one.
Well, I'm expanding my vocabulary. That's wonderful, Joe. That's wonderful.
Beautiful. Okay, Joe, so we're really looking forward to have you, and I hope to organize in this, coming 2 weeks another interview, maybe the next time, the one in Italian, if you don't mind, or calabrese, va bene?
Okay.
And I wish you all the best and look forward to have you with us very
Thank
soon.
you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Marta. Thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the night. Thank you very
so
much,
John.
and thank you to all your listeners as well.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. 25 years, wow, that is just sensational. I mean, that just goes to show you. And you see, the thing about, and as I said to you before, Marta, in fact, you organised it. I interviewed Joe about 12 months ago. The thing I like about Joe is that he does interviews straight. He doesn't try and be funny. A lot of comedians feel as though they always need to be funny when they're doing an interview. But really, we played a little bit of Joe from YouTube. We made people laugh then. But I think that it's lovely to hear someone like that just talk normally.
He's so realistic.
Talk a little bit about their career and stuff like that. And a major part of his career, of course, is coming to Adelaide on the 13th of February at the Woodville Town Hall. In fact, that's not far away at all. And that's a night with Amore and Avati, of course. And it's proudly sponsored. I'll give you the phone number. Actually, I'll get you to do that in a second. Marta, it's proudly sponsored by Unique Stones. So thanks, Armando Paradiso. Thank you so much indeed. And also the Platinum sponsors. And again, times are tough, but Radio Italia was able to secure 3 major sponsors, and we're very grateful. The Platinum sponsors are Northeast Isuzu and also the Matolo family. So we thank Unique Stone and also Northeast Isuzu and the Matolo family for making this happen.
Exactly, Mark. That's fantastic.
And that phone number?
Yes, and 82123177. That's the number if you want to book your tickets. I'm here in the office all day, and Stefano as well. So you can always give us a call, and we will be ready to get your tickets done.
Absolutely. And it's almost a sellout, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
only
which
40,
is wonderful.
I think, tickets left. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Our guest, and we love talking to Joe Avati, an international comedian doing some wonderful work, and he'll be here on the 13th of February at the Woodville Town Hall. So make sure you give that number a ring that Marta just gave. I think that went pretty well, Marta.
Wow.
Did we work well together?
Very difficult for me to host an interview in English, but I'll try my best.
You did very, very well.
Thank you, Mark.
No worries, Marta. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day, folks. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Radio Italia 1.
Radio Italia Uno and Unique Stone present A Night with Amore and Avati. A Night with Amore and Avati. Celebrate Amore with the charming and brilliant comedy of the great Joe Avati for a Valentine's Day of romance and captivating fun. An unmissable show enriched by the music of Daniela Fontanarosa and Sonic Circle. Saturday the 13th of February in the spectacular Woodville Town Hall. Doors open at 6:30pm. Don't wait. Book your tickets by calling Radio Italia Uno on 8212 3177. Radio Italia Uno, the surprises never end.